a Pete Primeau fan.
Thank you for having me.
Your fans are like,
what an honor to be here, Pete. You're a legend. You're a rock star.
I'm a legend in my own mind, said my wife.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
I'm Mr. Selling from the Heart. What's this guy, Larry Levine, going to teach me about selling from the heart?
You are one of the most generous and authentic people around. And I think that's why you and your show are so attractive to people.
Welcome to the Pete Primeau Show. We are here with my friend Matt Smith, and we are going to talk about Snooze Mattress, Cereal Dadpreneur, and anything Matt Smith wants to talk about. But let me pay the bills first. If you haven't bought my book, Sell a Million, 101 Tips for Furniture and Mattress Store Owners to Sell Another $1 million or more this year, what are you waiting for? The door turns are not what they used to be. Now is the time to find more creative ways of getting that door to turn. If you find a chapter in the book you want to implement and you don't know how, call me at 419-560-3169. And guys, we're a week away. I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. Miles and miles of retail selling greatness. I figured out that I have put on over 2 million miles in my 43-year career, and I have sat at the feet of some truly great salespeople and great business owners, and that's all in this book. This book represents almost 3 years of meetings. If you chop it up and you just do meetings with this book, it's about 3 years worth. I used to say 2 years worth, and then I figured out with all the QR codes and the additional resources, if you take advantage of everything, it's 3 years worth of meetings. And that is going to be on our big reveal show next Monday on the 17th. And cannot wait for that, guys. Mattress Industry Network Group sponsors this show. Guys, if you don't belong to the Mattress Industry Network Group, over 2,300 strong, maybe over 2,400 strong. If you want to learn how to build, market, and succeed in today's industry, it's an absolute free group. It's a great way to network. It's a great way to learn how to market, how to sell, and succeed in the mattress industry. So join the group and be with us. And my friends, Greg, Gent, and Steve Hauk that run that group are also starting a new group called Midas. And as soon as they get me graphics, I will give them some attention with this. But let's get started. And Serenity Sleep, that is Marnie. Let's do this. Woo-hoo. Tara Day, let's go. Happy Monday. Thank you, Marnie. Thank you, Tara, for being here. And guys, I am so excited about this show. So, Matt, welcome to the show.
Man, I'm fired up. Thanks for having me, Pete. It's an honor to be here today.
Dude, you should be fired up. So, here's a little inside baseball. Behind the scenes. Anybody that's ever been a guest on my show knows that there is no warm-up. There is no planning. There is no discussions about the show. We just go for it and have fun. And that's what we're doing right now. So Matt's going, what did I get myself into? But a little inside baseball. I asked Matt if he'd be on my show. How does he respond to me? I have done 211 episodes of this show, 35 of another podcast. And he just says, put me in, coach. So Matt, I love that. You know, sometimes we human beings, we see somebody and we see this energy and we see not to make you embarrass his pretty face. And we go, that's a facade. I got to tell you, after reading his book and after just chatting with him for a few minutes, Matt Smith is what you see is what you get. He really is all that. He's genuine. He's thoughtful. He's energetic, and he's absolutely passionate. And this guy, when he walks even into a green room, is electric. So I cannot wait for this episode. Matt, before I get into the book a little bit, I just need you to take our listeners through your first few years of this life, and maybe take them through some of the big change points, plot points, if you will, that kind of shaped you. And then we'll get into the book, and we'll get into anything you want to talk about.
Yeah, put me in, Coach. I'm ready to go. So, Pete, I appreciate your time. You're a legend in this industry. Thank you for all you do. The feeling's mutual. I walk into a room, everybody knows who you are. They're all getting your autographs around the place and getting a line to get to talk to you. So I do appreciate what you do, telling this story and just elevating this industry. More people needs to help collaborate to raise the tides of this industry. Sleep is one of the most important things that we all do, and we don't talk about it enough. And, there's collaboration is the way we all win. So thank you for all you do. But, I guess where the story starts, I've been in this industry about 25 years myself, been in franchising for about 19 years now. I started at 19 years old selling cell phones in a Walmart kiosk, and somebody recruited me into Denver Mattress Company. And, I was going to college part-time, mattresses part-time, and fell in love with this industry, fell in love and made more money than I'd ever made in my entire life on my first commission check. So I said, all right, I'm done with this college thing. I'm going all in on this, and just started investing in real estate, started investing in businesses, and just fell in love, never looked back. And, I think through my career path, long story short, at about 25 years old, I had learned that, I was working for an amazing company, helping them build it nationwide and grow, community and people out there. But I was controlling my own destiny, so around 25, I decided I'm gonna get into franchising. So, selling mattresses by day, I bought a health and wellness club, Snap Fitness, and, really started to see the franchise side of the world and see how systems and processes can help scale. And, I went from this little Snap Fitness in Pueblo West to the largest in the world in Pueblo West right now, still to this day. And I've seen the good, bad, and ugly in franchising. I feel like I've seen the good, bad, and ugly in mattress game. And that's where Snooze was born, is to really help disrupt a little bit of each industry and help level up the industry in every which way, and scream from the tallest buildings I can find about sleep and overall health. So in a nutshell, that's it. I can go into a lot more detail, but yeah, you got some pictures here. That was the ribbon cutting when we actually broke that was our first store before we moved across the street right here. And we just recently moved this year into a new location out of there, but that was our first store.
Yeah, I'm actually doing all that. It's not my producer, Chris Stone, the best producer in the world. I'm actually doing this. Not. So tell us about the plot point where you decided that, after this, I need to change the way I'm living. I need to change my life.
The plot point, I need to change the way I would say that, when I was working for somebody else, I think there was a plot point probably there that married my soulmate, didn't meet her till I was 30 years old. And, I was in retail. So I was on the front line helping grow the store, but I was working the weekends. I was working the 12-hour days, 9 to 9 back then. And I knew that family was the most important thing. I grew up single mom, didn't have a father in my life. So I always knew that being a father was going to be, no matter what, my number one priority in life, and being a husband. And I think when I had kids, I saw it, and then when you have kids, that love for the first time that you can't explain that to somebody. And, I left on a Saturday. I'll never forget. My wife tells this story on a Saturday, while I'm working in retail, customers come in, it's busy, and I leave to go to my son's soccer game to come right back. And I missed his first soccer goal. And I was there for the game, but I missed the first soccer goal. And that was the time I said, it's time to retire. It's time to bet on myself and do me and figure out what's next in life, but never to miss a soccer game again for the rest of my life. So I think that was probably the pivotal moment. And even when I left, it was really, I was building the largest snap in the world. I had 7 businesses, a spa, a tuxedo company, a physical therapy. I mean, we had a lot of different things going on. I have ADHD. So I was always like, oh, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try this. But really, it was time to bet on myself. And then fast forward a year later, it was like, this is what I know. And this is what I truly believe my purpose is and why I'm here. So Snooze was born.
That's awesome. And I want to keep following up on this. Chris Tahaney.
Man, I love that
friend.
guy.
Love you, Chris. No one publicly forces a topic of sleep more than Matt. Everywhere he goes, people get the PSAs they need when it comes to sleep. A solid gold hero for our business and for all of us. Yeah, I agree.
I love that, man.
Yeah. Nothing not to love about Chris Tahaney.
Amen.
He's right there fighting the same fight. And so Matt, there are people that look at you now and they think, oh my gosh, this guy just had it made. It was just like, he's been on this easy road. And, your road wasn't easy. You had an extraordinary mother that filled the gap for your father not being there. And then, you had a moment in time where you were at a party and a fight breaks out.
Mm-hmm.
And you ended up in the hospital.
Yeah.
And your grandmother walks in and basically looks at you, makes a noise and walks out. And you actually said, I got to change my life.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that? Because that's important for somebody to hear. There's somebody watching this or who will watch it someday and who will just assume that you always had this suit on and this beautiful office and it was just given to you. And it wasn't. I mean, you were on a path that could have been not the best path.
Mm-hmm.
And you deliberately chose a different direction. And I think that's incredibly huge for all of our listeners to understand.
No, I appreciate that. And yeah, you read the book. So that was the first chapter of the book was really, it was just about being stabbed and how there was 2 different directions in life. And I think it was the absolute best thing that ever happened to me to this day. I would always say I knew right from wrong. I was always a good kid, but I did hang out with the wrong crowd sometimes and got into peer pressure and whatever that may have been. But yeah, New Year's Eve, 99, I remember there was a gang fight that broke out. I got in the middle of it trying to break it up. Didn't happen, ended up getting stabbed an inch away from my spine. They say if I would have been hit my spine, I'd be paralyzed from the waist down right now. And even at that moment with the adrenaline and everything in the hospital for 2 days, I still thought it was kind of a joke. Probably I was kind of like, oh yeah, it just kind of happened. But yes, to your point, I remember my mom supporting me and my grandma walking in there and just shook her head in disgust and walked away. Didn't even enter into the hospital room. And that was the moment. Like that was another moment in my life that I was like, never again will I ever be in a fight for the rest of my life. And it's time to turn the direction of who I hang out with and nights and weekends and stuff like that. And I did, honestly, that was about when I got into the mattress business. And that was when I said no more. And I can tell you to this day, there has been no more, unless I'm protecting my family, you'll never see me get in a fight. I have no temper. I've never really had a temper. But it was just one of those things that, needed to happen to grow up. But to your point, I mean, I think from a lesson standpoint, if anybody's out there, I mean, you can change your stars, it only takes you committing and putting in the work and you can change your stars any direction that you want to change them. Has it been easy? No. And is it easy now? Absolutely not. Every single day is a hustle and a grind and it is putting in the work. But I always say, I've been blessed that I'm usually the dumbest guy in the room when I'm around all my team. I am very blessed with some of the most intelligent, passionate humans out there. But I don't know if anybody will outwork me, and that's the grit part of life that, I think that people need to understand. You put a focus out there, you set a goal and you outwork everybody. There's a lot of cheat codes now with ChatGPT and Google and stuff that you and I didn't have, Pete, growing up, that people have to use that and work ethic, so just put in the work, figure out what you want. And, I always tell everybody on our team, here's the goal. We're going to do this. We're going to change 50 million people's lives through overall health and wellness. But I can tell you every single day how we get to that goal, it changes. I always think it's going to go from here to here, but that doesn't happen. It's like, oh, that didn't work. Pivot, 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 pivot. But you will continue to get up to that goal if you just put in the work every single day and just learn from your mistakes. Either you learn or you win, but you don't lose. There's a lot of learning around here every day.
Matt, thank you for sharing that, because it was impactful. As a matter of fact, I couldn't stop listening to the book. The re-listen happened yesterday. I literally could not put it down, and it was kind of wild because I'm doing all kinds of things and I'm listening. And so I got to tell you a funny story. So I listened to the book and I was doing other things, and, it's kind of almost taking one of your things out of your systems for success, out of there. And then I realized, oh my Lord, I don't have an outline, and I like to have an outline, even though we can go any direction you want. So I put your book with your name in it, asked for a detailed report, including key takeaways. And Matt, my picture was in there with you for this episode of this show at the end of it. And I actually said, I made it. I can die with a smile on my face, knowing that I achieved making Chat GPT. So one of the things that it says in your book, the very first key takeaway, and by the way, before I say what it is, this is so overdue. We have listened to the crazies talking about grinding and sacrificing everything. Don't ever sacrifice your family. The message in Matt's book is family first. Family first. And at the end of the book, you made me cry, dude. Oh. Because throughout it, Jenny was coming on, and you don't understand what that does to me, because I'm married to Jenny as well. So you have a Jenny and I have a Jenny. And I was just touched by the fact that she was coming on and talking. But when the kids came on and basically talked briefly at the end of the Audible book, I said, oh my Lord, I love this dude. I mean, so everybody that's watching, I want you to do two things. So number one, buy the paperback, which I have yet to do, of Matt's book, Cereal Dadpreneur by Matt Smith. Buy that immediately, but don't cheat yourself. Get the Audible as well. And all you reps, if you guys are not, if you don't have a subscription to Audible or something like it, and you don't listen to books on tape while you're driving, you are just missing an incredible time hack. And that's the other thing, Matt, that I absolutely love. So I started doing this thing. My Christiana was probably, she's 17 now. She was probably 4 or 5 years old when I started doing this. So I travel a lot. I'm away a lot, usually 2 to 3, sometimes 4 nights a week. And so how do you keep your family together, when you're apart like that? And this is what I decided we were going to do with my Jenny, is we would say a prayer in Swedish, because my wife's 100% Swedish. Okay. So we say this prayer in Swedish. So I wanted my baby to always know that prayer. And then we talk about our successes, and then we pray for everybody in our family. But you, my friend, you did it one better with your 3-2-1. 3-2-1 is better than just successes. So I want you to talk about that briefly.
No, I appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, I think just to start, if anybody out there, any listeners out there, I think if you've been in this industry for a long time, or not just this industry, any industry, sometimes it trains humans to rise the totem pole, get to the next level, travel, do whatever you got to do to get that next promotion. But I can't reiterate enough, protect what matters most. And family is absolutely positive. The rest of this is all noise, and kids growing up with their parents is the most important thing that we can do out there. So, I want to reiterate that first, but yes, one of the lessons that I learned, and I wrote a children's book, it's called Make It a Great Day. I think it's actually here, or it's going to be a great day. I'm sorry. And the whole premise of the children's book is 3, 2, 1. It talks about three things, talks about grit and like we don't give up in the book, but then the end of the book I leave it wide open for the 3, 2, 1. Me and my wife do it every night. Me and the kids do it every night. But what was the three things that happened today, the biggest successes of the day? Because you want to get people talking about and thinking about like, oh, that was a success. But I think what it's done for me as a father is I could usually go, oh, I know my son this and this he's going to say. And then he says something different. I go, wow, okay, that meant more to him than I thought that meant to him. Sometimes those little things that you're like, oh, wow, my wife, I wouldn't have thought that was important to my wife. Okay, I'm going to do more of that. So it's 3 successes, 2 challenges for the day. And those are the same way. Like sometimes it's like, I just need to know what felt like a challenge. And then if it's something needs to be discussed, let's talk about it. If I was a part of that challenge because I did something wrong, well, let me try to explain myself or let me learn and get better. So 2 challenges and one thing you look forward to. Always talk about tomorrow. Like what are we excited about for the next day? And I think this works in business. This works in relationships. This works in parenting. This works in just communication in general. Every single day, what are the 3 things that were the best part? And 2, and then 1. In this book, how I left the end of this children's book is it's just blank. 3, 2, 1. What are the 3, 2, 1 things inside of there? So just really talks about that side of it. So I'm a firm believer in it. I think communication is the key to anything. So yeah.
I love 3, 2, 1. And then I loved how you expanded upon it and then bring it into the business, managing people. I thought, why didn't I think of that? I mean, it's absolutely brilliant because when we have the kind of relationships that we need with our people that work with us, part of our team, they're never going anywhere. If I'm listening to them and I'm helping them achieve their dreams and I know where they want to go and we're all pulling in the same direction, job offers will come and they will go, and my people are going to stay with me as long as I'm engaged with them. And that's a great lesson for all managers. Tara Day. So I have to just go off on a tangent right now. Tara Day, the reason I love you so much is because you are an action taker like I have never seen. And I'm so glad that you and RJ are partners because you are like cut from the same cloth. You guys see something, you see that it's good, and you jump on it. This is so awesome. Tara says, just downloaded the book on Audible. Matt's energy is contagious. It absolutely is. Put me in, coach. Maggie Burrows. Hello, Mr. Sell a Million. Your guest, Matt, makes a very good motivational speaker. Also, Matt, that's another thing you should end up doing. And congratulations on your second book release. Not quite there, Maggie, but it's close. It's next Monday, and I appreciate you. Thank you, Maggie. Love you. Matt, have you thought about the whole motivational speaking thing? Because that's kind of part of what you do, and maybe you just kind of tripped over it, and it might be your true calling, dude.
Yeah, who knows? No, I appreciate that. I think we do a lot of different things like that. I will tell you, writing this book was the hardest thing I've ever done. During COVID, there was no ChatGPT back then, and then recording yourself is so painful when you hear your own voice and then you're like, man, that's not what I meant. Like there's probably 30 revisions of this, even after I got it on Audible and it was supposed to be done, but then you like hear it and you're like, no, I need to change that. No, I need to change this. So there was just a lot that went into, putting that together. But, I appreciate the insight. I think if I've learned anything in my life, at one point, even when I started Snooze, I owned several businesses out there, and I got to keep the thing. Our priority in life right now is Snooze, and really Snooze changing the industry of wellness and health and really help elevating the industry. And if I'm not focused on that every morning when I wake up and every night when I go to bed, I'm not going to give it the justice that it deserves. So, we do Snooze Fest. We do a lot of other things out there. I love to get in as many groups as we possibly can. We were just at the NFLPA last week, talking to NFL alumni and NFL players about snooze and stuff like that. So that I enjoy doing. Motivational speaking, who knows? That could be a good retirement plan someday,
You never know. The good Lord has plans for us that we have not a clue about.
Amen.
And, there was something else, that really struck me in your book. And it was really, it's really a principle that doesn't get talked about enough. And I'm going to butcher it. So I'm going to let you come and clean it up. But basically, a lot of us manage when something not so good happens, and then we jump in and we try to correct. You're a good finder. You want to love up on somebody when they achieve something that's noticeable and that maybe they've been struggling with, and you just jump all over them. And I'm sure, encourage all of your managers to manage that way. And I said, this isn't done enough. And quite frankly, I don't do it enough. And, my excuse is I hire adults and I let them do their thing and I let them know I appreciate them, but I don't do enough of that. And I think that's the value of any book, any seminar, any podcast, is ask yourself, after you say, yeah, that's a great idea, yeah, I should do that, but ask yourself the tough question. And the tough question is, yeah, but do I do it consistently with my people? And when it comes to management, there is one word that's the most important, and that's consistency. Nobody should ever get blindsided by a manager that, oh, by the way, we're letting you go because you didn't do blah, blah, blah. Well, where was all the warnings all the way across so that we never had to get to this point? So can you talk about that for a minute and clean up after me?
I think it's beautifully said. I think you said it perfectly, but ultimately more is caught than taught. I think as a manager, the more things that we say and do versus just say and not do is a big part of lessons that I've learned. It's one thing to say, hey guys, I need you to do these 8 steps to the sale every single time. And then a customer comes in and I don't do the first 3 steps. I mean, what's the lesson that's learned there? Like, well, if he doesn't care, then I obviously don't need to care. But also loving up. I think what you're talking about there is like, we've all heard the analogy of praise in public and reprimand in private. And it really is about how much can you praise. But I think that attitude is also everything. Is like, there's just naysayers in this world. There is people that will look at their computer right now and find something that they want to say about this podcast or about anything else. And that's just a part of life. But loving on people and loving on life and waking up and smiling every single day and making it a great day, because we choose that path. And I think as an employee, as a whatever, I wake up every day and I tell my kids, and that's the first chapter of that book is, is today going to be a great day? And they say, yeah, Dad, because we're going to make it a great day. And I believe that. I believe that with every ounce of my heart, that you can make it a great day. Like Mike Tyson says, until you get punched in the face, but you could still make it a great day. Or you could choose to go, poor me, and this didn't happen, and this sucks, and oh my gosh, only this would have happened. I would be so much better off. Or, like you control it, and don't look at the past. Only look at what's ahead of you. And I think love up on everything that's going on. And life is, challenges are so much funner when you can smile at them. Life is so much funner when you can love up on it and love up on enemies and everybody around you. Like you won't see me getting bitter. You don't see me having enemies out there, but there's rocks thrown at me all the time. That's just a part of growth. And that's a part of disruption and changing things out there. And if it was up to me, I'd be best friends with everybody in this industry. We'd all sit in a room. We'd all talk about how to continue to level this industry up, but not everybody thinks that way. But this industry needs to change. And we all need to talk about sleep and health. And when you think about, 30 billion and, 60 billion in the US are in the world right now in mattress sales, 30 billion in the United States, and 600 billion in health and sleep this year, and $5.3 trillion in health and wellness and medical. Like, we need to be going after the $5.6 trillion and leveling this industry up versus saying, hey, I'll do $100 off of that, a free this, a delivery this, free on this. Like, let's high tides raise all boats. If we all kind of continue to grow, this is my message to anybody out there that's in the industry. Let's all raise the game and let's all talk about sleep and health. and then everybody wins. This industry wins. Everybody in your store wins. Everybody out there wins. I might be going on a little bit of a tangent here, but I truly believe this industry deserves to talk more. I mean, when I met Grant Cardone, he had a $700 mattress and a $200,000 red light therapy machine right next to it. And I believe that's the industry's fault. You know, throw that one away and get another one. It's disposable, this, and this. So I say this all because I believe attitude is really what controls all of our destiny, and every single day waking up and being that positive attitude. But in this industry, I think we love this industry. You know, you and I, Pete, I'm proud of this industry. You're not going to yank me out of this industry. You're the same way. There's nothing you can do to pull out of there, but it could be leveled up in a lot of different directions, you know, and I think that's kind of a purpose, and that's where Snooze comes out in a lot of different areas. But it all comes down to attitude, loving up, and finding the beauty in everything that we do, not finding the negativity out there.
Wow. That was really good. Thank you. Oh, Justin Trumbo.
Man, I love that guy.
I love you, Justin. Don't ever leave Matt alone with your hotel room. You may end up sleeping on a box spring.
We call this short shooting. And Justin and his big, he had some big VIP party, I don't know, a year ago. And we call it short sheeting in my game. And he went downstairs to go get somebody, let him into the room. And I was like, hey, I got an idea. Everybody come with me into his room really quick. We switched the mattress and box spring, made the box spring so it looked like a mattress. And then I went home and went to bed. And then when he was done for the night, jumped into his box spring. Yep, he thought of us, and somehow my name popped into his head. He knew that it was me. But anyway, that's a good prank for anybody out there in the mattress game.
I remember that. I wasn't there, but I saw the pictures posted in the group, and it was special. So you just threw a bunch out. So I got to tell you something. You mentioned Grant Cardone, and I want to ask you a few questions about that. But I've read several of his books, listened to him, I should say. And, you know, because of how like he comes at you with like a lot of energy, like I was almost like pushing him away. And then I'm listening to 10X and I go, he's right. He's right about that. He's right about this. He's right about that. He's right. He's right. I keep going, he's right. And I'm like, you know, just because he doesn't come across with the kind of personality that I come across with doesn't mean he's not right. And I think it goes back to trying to find the good in everything. But I am fascinated to know, how did you meet Grant Cardone?
Yeah, so we were on a show. It's on Discovery Channel. I think it's on YouTube, Hulu, all over the place now. But it's called Undercover Billionaire. And long story short, the premise of the show is they get a billionaire, they drop him off in a town. It's kind of a beat up town with a story, and they give him 90 days to build $1 million business. He can't have his identity, his name, his contacts, anything like that. They show up with a different name. He was dropped off in Pueblo, Colorado. How they picked Pueblo, you know, there's a lot of different reasons, but long story short, he was dropped off here in Pueblo, Colorado. He had to build the business. So he went to several different people in this town, and the town kind of pushed in my direction. At that point, I think I did have 7 or 8 businesses in Pueblo. So I was kind of known as the idiot that opened another business. Go talk to that idiot. He'll open a business with you. So Grant was out kind of looking for contacts. He says at the beginning of the show, contacts equal contracts. The town kind of pushed him my way. And, you know, just kind of like you and I, when he talked to us, like, put me in, coach, let's talk. They want to do a business in town. I'm your guy, you know, but the premise of the show was they came to me and said, Matt, you know, we want to tell the world about Pueblo and that it's a beat up town, but it's got a bad reputation, but it's a beautiful town. And I'm like, well, I'm your Huckleberry. I'll tell the world how special this town is. So they followed me around for 120 days, you know, but I don't even know if they had the camera on. It was all cover up, you know, because they were, you know, really they were following him and me, and then they were following us together, but they had to make me understand that this was, you know, Lewis Curtis. So anyway, I spent 90 to 120 days with the guy. We built Wake Up Pueblo, which is the building I'm in right now, the oldest building in Pueblo. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, so we built up Wake Up Pueblo in town. We ended up building a $5.5 million business in, you know, ended up being, you know, 80 something odd days, but in the 120 day span that we built that business during COVID, you know, to show that the American dream is still alive, and that, you know, with hard work and grit, you can build anything out there. And I think that was the premise of the show. It was an absolute honor. You know, I still go to these 10X events with Grant, and like, it's crazy. Like, I'm like a famous guy there signing autographs everywhere I go because of this TV show. But I will say for any entrepreneurs out there, the show really, it was real. I mean, it was us building a business, me going to all my contacts, pushing a marketing company, helping people tell their story more and more and more. But everybody on that show was the business. The evaluation really was an evaluator coming down into that. So it just shows if you put in the work and you have your mind set on figuring out something, that anything is definitely achievable. And we achieved it. He achieved his goal, and it definitely helped level him up in a lot of ways. I am the reason that Grant is Grant Cardone. I'm just kidding. But, it really helped level him up in a lot of ways, and to help level up Snooze and just get us into a lot of amazing contacts. I mean, Gary Brecka is probably one of my favorite humans. Glenn Sanford, Brian Calhoun, just met a lot of amazing people through this group. That, we're doing some ice baths in our stores right now with Gary Brecker. We're about to launch some Snooze ice baths and health and wellness side of the game. So, it's been a blast. It's been an honor to be a part of it, but that's really the premise of the show. It's 12 episodes. You'll see me and my wife and my family on the show. I think it's a great show to really just show the American dreams alive.
Kylie Nelson had a comment, and she said, Pueblo sure is. Colorado is so beautiful and raw. Congratulations.
Thanks, Kylie. And
Gordon, hi, Matt. I enjoy seeing your posts on LinkedIn and the amazing things you are doing. I would like to hear your view on how the TSI MF merger will affect Main Street mattress retail. That's a great question, Gordon. Thank you.
That is top of mind right now. I can even answer that now. I'm ready. Put me in. Gordon. I'm really close with a lot of the TSI guys there. They've been a lot of our success and where we're at. And I was in this industry when, I was selling mattresses on the front line at Denver Mattress Company when Tempur-Pedic came around. And we were very anti-Tempur-Pedic. I remember, we were like, oh, we have our own Swedish luxury. It's the same thing, and it's a third the price, blah, blah, blah. But when we finally carry them in our stores leveled up to another an evolution in the industry. And I saw, our average ticket back then was probably $299, maybe $399. And they were coming at $1,200 beds. And we were like, there's no way. And then after I got a taste of a $1,200 sale, I was like, I'm never turning back. And I saw this industry grow. I saw Denver Mattress grow. I saw the mattress firm everywhere out there grew. So I think from a perspective of that, what I love about this industry is changing sleep and health. What I don't love about this industry, and when everybody tries to chase to the bottom, then we say, I'll beat that price. I'll give you this for free. I'll do this for free. I'll do this. So my point of all of that is I believe that Tempur-Pedic will elevate this industry. I believe getting into Mattress Firm, getting rid of the free adjustable base promotions, that nobody needs that head up only adjustable base because it does nothing, as Justin Tremont will tell you. Like, it doesn't help the human body without your feet being above your heart as well too. I believe that $299, $399, $499 bed should not ever even be discussed until you find out what the customer should be sleeping on. I truly believe that health and wellness should come first, and then price should come second. And this industry has led with price for so long that it devalues our industry. And I think that this will level it up. I really believe that the whole industry is going to grow. I will, Tempur-Pedic will change that conversation out there in all of the stores and help all of us take it to the next level. And if we could raise everything by $200, $300, $400 across the boards in the industry, everybody's going to win. I believe they're going to continue to put more advertising out there. So I think it's going to be great for everybody. I mean, I really do. And I'm a retailer. I'm in this areas everywhere where there is Mattress Firm. So I have every reason to think otherwise, but I will tell you that I'm a believer in Tempur-Pedic. I see the inside of them. I'm a believer in Mattress Firm. We are who we are because of Harry paving the way, Harry Roberts and all of his, his brothers, and doing what they've done out there. I talked to Harry last week. Like, I'm just, I respect everything that's ever been done in this industry. This is the evolution of what's next. Like it or not, it's here. So how do we lean in, and how does everybody win with it? And I believe changing the conversation, it's going to be a really good thing for our industry.
That's a great take on it. And, I'm glad that you brought up Harry Roberts. I've never met Harry Roberts, but I have heard so many people say such great things about, here's a giver, here's a pioneer who, this is a guy with vision, and he's one of the original guys with Mattress Firm, right?
Yeah, I think most of us wouldn't be here without him. I mean, in the 80s, he paved the way and started franchising and really had the vision, had some Budweisers in his basement, and Mattress Firm was born. It's an amazing story, but You want to talk about grit, it's one of our core values is grit. And that guy put in the work, to pave the way for us to be where we're at right now. And where Mattress Firm was born, and he still to this day still owns stores all over the country, still is heavily involved in the industry. And, to your point, he's a giver, one of the most passionate humans, I think, in this industry, and really wants to help this industry grow, in every which way. So yeah, I'm a huge fan. I'll have to introduce you. He should be on your podcast for sure.
Oh, I would love to meet Harry. I would love to have him on my show. Chris Tahaney had a question or a comment. I have a video of the infamous box spring swap.
Oh my God. He does. He was there. It was an epic night for sure. So those are two guys that are all about this industry. Chris just moved into a new role who will absolutely help elevate this industry and help elevate the experience. One of the most loved individuals out there, but really high tide dries all boats. I mean, I know Chris, like myself, is best friends with every competitor out there and best friends with anybody and everybody that will be his friends, because he's elevating that industry, and he's now going to elevate the sheets game and the mattress side of it and the Smart Life. Smart Life's an amazing bet. If anybody out there hasn't seen it, talk to Chris.
Yeah. And, Matt, there is something to be said about that. We should not view our competition as enemies. That is the absolute wrong approach for 100 different reasons, not the least of which is you just kill any possibility of any cooperation that is mutually beneficial. Most companies aren't exactly carbon copies of each other. They have different strengths, they have different weaknesses, and they could actually benefit by knowing each other and helping each other with customers. I'll never forget this. I had a midlife crisis when I was in my early 40s. I couldn't afford a red convertible, so I decided I'm going to become a power lifter. And my powerlifting coach got really mad at me because I was going up against the national champion, and the guy had an equipment problem, and I had a new unused pair of knee wraps. And I said to my coach, John, I said, give him my knee wraps. So I gave him my knee wraps. And then he ran out of smelling salts, because us power lifters like to smell smelling salts and go crazy and then go make our lift. So I told John to give him my smelling salts. And then my coach was going crazy. It was really it was like me and this dude like going at it, right? And he finally gets off the gumption to talk to me, and he says, I don't understand. I thought you wanted to win. And I said, I do want to win. And I want him to have to shake my hand and tell me I'm the strongest person he's ever lifted against. And he's not going to be able to blame it on a knee wrap. He's not going to be able to blame it. I didn't have my smelling salts. He's going to have to acknowledge that I'm the best. That's the way I want to win. That's the only way I want to win. And if you're not down with that, there's no future for us. And he's like, oh, okay, enough of that. And I won. And, it's not about winning and losing. It's about, there's something bigger going on here. We're human beings, and we are at our best, our most creative selves, when we are cooperating with other people instead of fighting other people, and instead of creating false competitors that really don't even exist in reality, but we're making it something that it's not. So, Matt, I am with you on, let's elevate this business, right? I mean, there's a lot of elevation to be done, and 100%. Everybody that's down with that, come on my show and talk about it, because that's all I really want to talk about is how do we elevate this business. So Matt,
there's a study, and I don't have it off the top of my head, but there's a study that showed a Pepsi machine somewhere and a Coke machine somewhere, and then a Coke and a Pepsi machine in the same area. And it showed that you would have thought that the money would have been divided, but it was actually like 4x the amount of pops sold on both sides when they were both there versus just one machine there. I'll have to figure out the study. I was looking for my phone because I know I have it on my phone somewhere. But there's a law of competition that when there's two there, you can raise, because everybody raises up on that. And I believe if a snooze goes into your area, you're not going to have to ever worry about, hey, this customer's coming in for a $299 mattress. You're going to have to worry about this guy was looking at an $8,000 sleep system. And we all should start raising up our conversations, or $10,000, $5,000, whatever the number is. We're not here to chase to the bottom. And I believe that we all need to think that way. And if we all change the conversation, we're all going to change the outcome. If we decide we're going to go, I'm going to beat their price and I'm going to do better than them, then nobody wins. And I mean, nobody wins, so how do we all elevate that conversation out there? But high tides truly raise all boats. It's a saying I say all the time, but I believe it. And I think we all need to think that way. How do we all take this industry another billion, and then another 2 billion, and then another 5 billion, another 10 billion? Whenever I don't know what presentation I was on, but somebody like brought up this pie and they were like, Matt, what size, where's the pie? Here's Sleep Number, here's Firm, here's Temper, here's SSB. Where do you see Snooze on this pie? And I was like, I see the pie getting bigger. Like, I don't see this pie going, we're going to take this corner of this pie. Like, no, I see us increasing this pie more and more, where everybody's going to win out of this pie instead of trying to cut somebody else's pie out there. And I think if we all think of that, we all eat more pie and we all win. And if it's health and wellness, if it's, putting in sleep formula, we're doing a bunch of sleep private label stuff. We're doing ice baths. We're doing, a lot of CPAPs. We're going to be doing stuff inside the stores. It's all just going to raise the conversation of sleep and health and wellness, which again, everybody wins. Let's all think outside the box versus trying to do the same thing it's been done. This industry hasn't changed much in 40 years. It's time to start. But wellness in America is at an all-time high and at all-time cool. Everybody wants to be cool and be hip, and they want their digital stuff to tell them how much they're sleeping and running and eating and calories and all this. Let's talk about that in the sleep game. Everybody wins, so there'll be a lot of products that we're launching actually in the next couple of months that will continue to elevate. But, if anybody knows me, like, here's my playbook, like, here's what's working, go do it. Like, this isn't Snooze has got this. No, we're here to win, and we want everybody to win with us.
Yep. And the opposite's true too, Matt. I've often had a big retailer come into an area, and some of my dealers are like, Pete, what should I do? I go, what you should do is focus on your customer and take really good care of them. And here's what's going to happen. Because this is a big retailer and this is somebody who's going to actually invest in advertising, they're going to bring more customers. To your point, the Coke and Pepsi challenge, they're going to bring more people wanting to buy mattresses into your area. So it's going to be very positive for you. It's not going to be negative. Your worst enemy is the guy or the gal that opens up a little dirty window store and says, I'll beat anybody's prices 100%. Right next to you, and never spends $1 in advertising. They're just trying to be a parasite. They're just trying to siphon off a little bit of your business. The reality is, that never works. I've watched it for 43 years, Matt. It doesn't work. It really does not work.
If it doesn't,
and leveling up works. So,
real quick to your point there, I just want to say that one other case study is Dreams. We're opening a store in Ireland actually this week. Snooze Mattress. We're going into Ireland, Wales, UK, London, and we're working our way through there with an amazing franchise group. But I bring it up really quick because Tempur-Pedic bought Dreams, which is the largest mattress store in the UK. Everybody won after Tempur-Pedic bought Dreams. So if anybody wants to see a case study of how that, and I've talked to individual people out there, after they bought it, the conversations changed and the whole industry rose out in that area. And that's, I believe, what's going to happen in this area as well too, where high tides are going to continue to raise.
Yep. Somebody had a comment. Kylie Nelson from Cumberland Mattress in Somerset, Kentucky. May I ask you, what is the one system you have added that made a huge difference for your company?
I don't know if I'd say one system, but we will continue to add and evolve. I mean, that's kind of my thing is, innovation, make yourself obsolete or somebody else will, that's kind of my theory every morning when I wake up. But I would say, we do the dream mapping as a part of our Snooze score where we map your body to tell you what kind of a mattress you need. That's a big, takes out the guessing game. But we also have a, proprietary, like a Snooze score. What is your score now? And how do we get your score to the next level? So really talking about health and wellness, and I think the better that you can streamline the process, if you've ever been to a Good Feet, they do an amazing job of just talking about, the same thing over and over and over. And I think that's where our industry sometimes has been challenged is we're always depending on $1 million salesperson or $2 million salesperson in the store either makes it or break it based on the person at the front line. But if you have the right systems and processes and you're asking the same questions consistently and learning from that and evolving that, I think is where everybody wins. Like we have a snooze score. I will tell you today, it'll probably change in 6 months and another year, because what we're asking the customer and what's working and not working, but at least we're doing the same thing consistently everywhere. So I would say, find out what your score is and what is, what you're trying to do. And I could send that to you if you want. Give me an email address. I'll send you some stuff that we've got out there. But I would say, dream mapping is one of the big things, but we want to make sure that it's still unique to us. So everything that we do will be unique. I want to make sure that we continue to, but I believe, we're doing high press right now. We're going to do ice baths right now. Because I was on the front line for 18 years, I saw every day that customer coming in saying, I'm in pain, help. And, we're letting them leave with a mattress, an adjustable base, pillows, and sheets sometimes if we're doing everything right. But what about, referring to a chiropractor down the street, because this chiropractor could help the other two things that you can't help with, or a sleep doctor down the street, or talking about an ice bath or high price or melatonin or whatever it may be. Even if you don't carry it, you're still helping that customer. So it's like, Pete, I could solve 7 of your 10 problems today. Here's how you solve the other 3. Go talk to this person, this person, this person, and you're a 10 out of 10. But I can't do those other 3 because I'm not a doctor. So it really is, how do you get the right intake so you can give the right outside of there as well too. So to level up that.
So good. So good. So Kylie, make sure you get Matt. You know what, Kylie, you don't have to do anything. I will send your email to Matt with your blessing. All you got to do is say yes, and I will do that for you. Nothing for you to do, my friend. So Matt, we've been it feels like we've been talking for 5 minutes, but we're almost at the end of our hour. So this really is making me very sad right now. Is there a question that I haven't asked you that I should have, or is there something that's near and dear to your heart, a project coming up that you would like to talk about?
Man, I think I've hit most of it. I think we've talked about family. We are launching a new book called Don't Hit the Snooze Button on Life. It's another children's book. Those are things that are fun for me. It's actually, I think, getting ready to launch. The whole premise of this is grit and kids putting in the work at a young age and learning grit. I think our 3 core values at Snooze that are non-negotiables is you got to be a good human. We vet that out. I don't care if you're on the front line, franchisee, whatever it is. We only do business with good people. 2, you got to have grit. Grit is that part of the world that is hard to teach, because, some people you can interview to death and it's like, you think they're going to put in that work, but if you don't put in the work, I don't care what system you have, the systems don't work. And the third one for us is coachable. You've got to be coachable to buy into a system and a process. If you're buying into a franchise, you've got to listen to what works. But to flip that coin, I tell everybody I'm the most coachable person on planet Earth. If there's a better way to do it, teach me. I'll change tomorrow. Put me in, coach. I'm not here to say that we're the best in the world. I'm here to say that we're going to continue to evolve to be the best in the world every single day and every single week. And we will change our systems to win. And the way we disrupt is to not find a bunch of mattress people in the room and say, how do we get better? The way we disrupt is to find out what Nike's doing and Facebook's done and Tesla's doing and Google's doing and all of these other people, Good Feet. Like, what are other people doing and how do we pull that into our industry so everybody wins, as opposed to, just trying to be better than the guy down the street. Like that's not our mission. I've never got in this to be the best mattress store out there. We've got in this to be the first sleep shop in health and wellness. We actually, we're getting into wellness products. So I think anything that's launching out there, trying to think of anything else major that we didn't talk about today. We've got a lot of exciting things we'll be launching in the wellness space inside of our stores that will be kind of proving concept out there. And as we do it, I think everybody will see it. I put it all out on socials in a lot of areas, and we'll continue to evolve and change the wellness side of this to help. Imagine if you were a small mattress store and you can get 30 customers a day or something because you're now having other products that are bringing in customers, maybe, whatever that product may be. There's other ways out there to elevate the conversation. We all got to do this as a team. So I think if there's a message out there, it really is, let's change the conversation, everybody. If it's a town near one of us, or if it's not, like if we all level up the conversation together, everybody's going to win. And if we keep chasing to the bottom and trying to find the cheapest bed we can make for the cheapest amount of price to sell for the cheapest price, nobody is going to win out there. But sleep affects everything that everybody does. If you're not sleeping, if you're an entrepreneur, an athlete, a dad, we were at the NFL last week and they don't talk about sleep at all in the NFL, but if your knee blows out, they got a doctor on site to get your knee back in there so you can get back into that game, but to recharge our battery, nobody's talking about that, so I believe that we all need to talk about sleep and health and quit talking about price and quit talking about the best deals and sales and I saw if you haven't seen the Saturday Night Live skit, it was brilliant about President's Day. It was this last week. And it was brilliant about like hamburgers, so they don't even have ham in them and all these different things about America. And then at the end of it, they were like, well, what's President's Day for? And he goes,
Mattresses.
That's when we buy mattresses. And you're like, that's our industry. But we need to buy mattresses when you're not sleeping and when you're tired and when you need to recharge your battery, not because there's a sale going on right now, So I think that if we continue that conversation and continue to raise that, everybody's going to win and we're all going to have a good time doing it and have a lot of pillow fights and wear pajamas and have fun doing what you're doing because life is too short not to.
So, Matt, I'm really glad that you touched on the systems, this idea that we have to have systems so that we don't depend on, $1 million writer because they're few and far between or a multi-million dollar a year writer. We have to have systems. Guys and gals, think about McDonald's. What is the superpower of McDonald's? That they can take a bunch of originally pimply teenagers who have serious ADHD, right? And they can put them into systems that work, that create a consistent product. Now you go into McDonald's, it's not a bunch of teenagers, right? It's a bunch of 60, 70, and 80-year-olds, but it's still the same challenge. And McDonald's has systems that make an average person be able to perform at a higher level. And to me, any system that takes into account that, hey, I may not have a superstar here, I might have an average person, but if they follow the system, they're going to perform at a super high level and they're going to give our customers the kind of service and the kind of experience they deserve. So I love systems. I love the idea that we constantly need to improve our systems. And, one of the things that all of us have to remember is let's never let ourselves become victims of mavenitis. Those of you that don't know what mavenitis is, it is when you believe that you know everything and you are no longer coachable and you are the smartest guy or gal in the room. I will never be the smartest guy or gal in the room. I will always be taking notes. Whether you see me with a notepad taking notes, I'm taking notes. Trust me, I'm always taking notes. And I love to be around people who are smarter than me because it helps me to level up. And that's what this life is really all about. So, Matt, there's been a bunch of people watching, and there's going to be even more on the reruns. And as they find this video, which basically lives forever on YouTube. So if somebody heard something that inspired them and they want to talk to you more, how do they get a hold of you, Matt?
LinkedIn, I think my handles are on there somewhere. I think, social media, I'm on every platform that there is, I think, so Instagram, you can DM me on Instagram or LinkedIn are probably the most, easiest way to probably get a hold of me. And then, info@snoozesleep.com, that goes to all of our C-suite executives. If there's any ideas or anything that we can help you with, or if you're, even looking to, look at a franchise, in your area, please hit us up at sales@snoozesleep.com. And we can send you some more information. We're doing something, we're having fun. Our mission has been to change the world of sleep and health and to do it differently, and help evolve this industry. When you go into our stores, they feel, look, smell differently than anything out there. We're very proud of what we continue to create. But we've got guys that own, 20-something Jimmy John's. We've got guys that are, it's just sold a bunch of Domino's pizzas in our system. We've got guys that are from all works of franchising. And the reality is, we're changing lives, and you can be proud of what you do every day and have fun doing it and creating careers and stuff for people outside of there too. So find me on any of that, and any of our team would love to get with you. Snoozefranchise.com. There's more information on our franchise as well. And then, we're launching a couple other books out there, so those will all be on Amazon as well too. So, but yeah, I think that's.
Matt, I just have one question for you. Is Chris Stone not the best podcast producer you've ever seen in your life.
It's incredible. You know, I was like, I'll just get on a quick podcast with you. And then we got here all early and he prepped me. He did everything. Like, yeah, you got the best of the best. This is by far the best. I've been on some Grant podcasts and a bunch of other people out there that are high level. Like, this is by far the best podcast I've ever seen done.
He is incredible.
You're good at what you do too.
Anybody out there, if you're thinking about doing a podcast, call my friend at Cast Ahead. That's the name of Chris's company, Cast Ahead. And Chris Stone is the man, the myth, and the legend. Kylie had a couple of comments that I wanted to read. One is super important. Kylie Nelson from Cumberland Mattress says, thank you for validating our next step. Thank you, Matt. That is what I was going to ask. You are amazing, Pete. No, thank you, Kylie. You are amazing. And Kylie says, that is why you are launching your newest book. Congratulations, my friend. Thank you, Kylie. Thank you for your kind words, but I have to tell you something. I'm just a poor kid from Schenectady, New York, who didn't make pro football, ended up working in the mattress industry, fell in love with it. And now I'm just giving back to the industry that I love. So
love it. We appreciate it.
Honor for me. Matt, thank you. I love getting to know you in the last hour. You are amazing. You are such a giver, and we are blessed to have you in our industry, my friend.
Thank you, Pete. The feeling is absolutely mutual. I appreciate it. I look forward to doing this again sometime. I might get a hold of your guy and then reverse this podcast because I haven't done a podcast in a while and I was into this for a while. So I know the time and dedication it takes to continue these on. So thanks for all you do for our industry and continuing to raise conversations out there. So truly.
Thanks, Matt. Everybody go out there and sell 1 million. Thank you.